Now let's get started with some summer car care tips with the folks there at Hixson Transmission. And joining us right now, we have Chuck Miller. Good to see you again. It's hot, it's rough on us, it's also rough on our cars. And there's probably a lot of things that we do tend to overlook when it comes to the summer months.
Especially in this heat, it's detrimental. It's hard on any type of rubber component. It's hard on the vehicle in general, and the batteries, the tires, all that stuff. The heat will really drag this stuff down.
Now you've actually brought in a Cadillac here to look at and talk about some of the things that maybe even just the normal folk can kind of recognize.
Well, summer vacation time, people are going to be taking trips and stuff like that. What you want to know is your car is going to be safe. You can have a mechanical failure and never know anything's going on, but there are some things you can check and make sure you're not going to have a problem. Key is going to be belts, hoses, coolant, the stuff that you're really going to take care of so you don't get broken down. You're not on the side of the road at 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Serpentine belts, as you can see, most of them are made from 2000 back, are made from neoprene rubber, and once they get hot and they're old, they start dry rotting and cracking, and then, or they'll get a glaze look inside of them similar to this right here. So that's something that you really need to check and make sure that you don't see any cracks or dry rots and you don't see that glaze on the inside.
Now before we move on to the next thing, you know, an example like this where we have sort of that cover and some people are just sort of afraid to open up the hood and look in, but we can still more or less find the serpentine belt pretty easily.
You can. The serpentine sets down in the front. You'll be able to look down in between and you'll see either some radiator hoses and the belt in the front or on the side of the vehicle, depending if it's a front wheel drive or not. But the serpentine belt's always clearly visible, and so are the radiator hoses.
Now you mentioned hoses. There is some things that we need to look at when it comes to our hoses.
Well, yeah, you want to go out and check them first thing in the morning cold before the pressure gets built up on them. Take the hose, just kind of squeeze it, make sure it's not cracking, and make sure it's hard. I mean, that's not hard. If it is hard, then something's going on and you're going to have to get it replaced. A new hose is going to be very soft and pliable, so you won't have to worry about that. And you squeeze it early. Now, once you start it up and it's ran, there'll be pressure in there and you won't be able to tell the difference. So check it before you start it up.
Now, I also noticed we have some different types of coolant. You know, all cars need coolant. It helps keep them cool, but didn't realize that there was different varieties.
Yeah, all the manufacturers now have their own specific type. They've went away from the ethylene glycol, which they had in the old cars. Now they have more because of the aluminum engines and stuff to help protect it. So what you want to do is look and make sure that you have the right style in there. And there'll be something in your owner's manual to tell you what it's supposed to have. As far as visibility, you should be able to look at any of the tanks and see where you can see this is clear and you can see it's clean and all that. Same thing with the brake fluid. Those things are visible that you can look at and see what's going on.
As you notice, you pointed at different types that we have here, but of course we do want to show if you don't change it out or don't keep up with it.
It's supposed to look like. Yes, sir.
It's not. And you know, when should someone, I guess, look at this or maybe consider getting that coolant flush?
Well, they need to check it about every 6 months. The flush needs to be done about every 30,000 miles.
Okay. Also, I noticed we have a bit of a filter here, and this is not your typical air filter, but it's something else.
This is the one that nobody really knows about, and this is your cabin air filter. This is what circulates, the air circulates through from your AC system in the blower or the heat, either one. Anytime you turn that fan up, it pulls through this right here. Most newer cars from about 2004 have this. Most people don't realize they have one. As you can see, like this one here, it's got pet hair in it, it's got bugs in it. It's very dirty, and most people don't know they even have one of those. So if you're having problems with allergies in your car, the AC don't feel as cool as it used to, it could be something simple as this filter being stopped up.
And just like with most components of a car, this could be in sort of different locations, but it's still somewhat easily accessible for many cars.
Yeah, from your owner's manual, it'll tell you where to look at it. It's either going to be on the firewall on the passenger side, or you're going to have to take the glove box down and there'll be an access page there to get to it.
All right, well, we have a few more seconds here to sort of keep in mind how to keep our car happy during the summer months.
Well, if they're going to go on a trip, they really want to check their tires. When they go to check their tires first thing in the morning, if they'll go out and turn it out where it's to the outside like that and make sure that it's wearing even all the way across both sides, and then you can either get a tire depth gauge and check it and see the depth of it, or you can take a quarter and stick the head down in there, and if you can see the head, if it's covering the head, then you know the tire's still in good shape, which is 430 seconds. The old standard on tires used to be 230 seconds. The new one is 430 seconds, and that's very minute, but the stopping difference on wet pavement between 230 seconds and 430 seconds is 100 feet.
Now, go ahead.
I mean, that's 5 car lengths easy. So.
Now, when it comes to car tires, you know, lots of times we want to make sure the air pressure and everything is. You measure that when the tires are cold, but of course on a day like today, the pavement pavements in the mid-90s. I mean, is that still the similar
Well,
concept?
Yeah, but it's been setting out most of the day. You check, most of the time it's best to go out and just check it first thing in the morning before you go anywhere. That way all the temperatures are down and everything is normal.
Well, we appreciate all the great tips here, and of course a lot of folks do take vacations this time of the year and want to make sure that our car is happy and make sure that it does last long out there on the roadways as well. And of course, folks, for more information about Hixson Transmission, you're welcome to give them a call. They're located there off of Hixson Pike, 5128 Hixson Pike to be exact, and of course their phone number 423-875-2276. You can also go on their website, which is HixsonTransmission.com.